I'm Daniel. I'm the technical director here at RW. And in this video, I got the privilege of interviewing Dee with Bona about their Red Out product, which takes the pink color out of red oak. Unfortunately, due to some technical difficulties, the beginning of this interview was cut off, but thankfully we were able to preserve the majority of our interview where we actually got into the process and information about the product. So enjoy. Roll part one, get part two on there before that dries, and then I'm just doing that in sections across the floor.
Correct.
Okay.
It really is just that easy.
Okay. And I can roll any direction I want. Like if I'm working out of a hallway, I can do a block as I'm going down the run of the floor like that.
Yep, you can do it that way for sure.
Okay.
And I would say cross rolling, you probably, it's just best practice to try to stay rolling with the grain as much as you can. Mm-hmm. So even if you depending on the layout, and you had to kind of door in the middle and work your way out, you would just kind of, swoosh an area, meaning I kind of call it like the little pendulum type, how we would roll finish, and then let that sit for a while, and then you go back in and roll the second part down and work your way out, and then work your way out. So depending on the layout, try to get creative.
Okay, so you get done rolling out step one, and you want that to be evenly wet, and you don't want that to dry.
I think 15 to 20 minutes is what it says the dry time can be, but as we talked about different regions and climates, you just don't want it to completely dry.
So then you've got your second part already ready to go, and how do you put that down? Also with a roller?
Yep, same way. You're just rolling over what you just did in the first step, working out of a bucket. And so you basically have both buckets ready to go, so that as you finish with step two on your first portion, then you can just immediately start with step one.
Gotcha. And then edges, am I trying to get a roller into the corner? Would you recommend having a pad or?
Yeah, you probably want to have a pad on hand, but if you can roll close enough to the edges, of course, if baseboards aren't up, then you can just roll right up to the edges. But yeah, pad be the same way, just getting the floor wet and then applying it. And again, you can walk on this, no issue there walking on it, step one or step two.
Gotcha.
But yeah, same application around the edges.
Okay. Any reason I need to tape off the baseboard or anything like that?
Because of the thin viscosity and the chance of the roller causing a little splatter, we actually show putting some plastic, that 3M makes that where you can tape and then pull the plastic down so that way you're not getting any on the wall, getting any on the baseboard, because it could cause a little bit of a discoloration, possibly getting it onto the baseboard. So yeah, you would want to take those off.
Gotcha. And then I just let those dry.
Yeah, so after step two is put down, you should let it dry at least a minimum overnight.
Okay.
All right, before you do anything to the floor. So if you notice that maybe, I think if you missed some spots, then you can go back over it. If you miss some spots, you can just kind of go back. So easy to, go back over it. Like a second application is okay of both part one and two. Or if you don't think you got step two on an area, because it's already dried, you'd probably have to put some step one down. And then you don't have to tape off any boards or anything. You can just brush more of step one, let it soak in, then put step two down if you think you have any missed areas. So second application, you can do a second application over the entire floor too. If, there's a difference between northern oak, southern oak, some having more color to it. If you don't think you put enough down during the first, process, and you think you still see some more reds, then it could be whether you were too thin with the application, so it didn't really penetrate and soak in enough. You could do a second application to even get deeper into the wood.
Gotcha. And that's just all the exact same process all over again? Same
process all over. Yep.
Okay. Gotcha. And you kind of mentioned this, but I'm used to working with part A, part B wood bleach, wearing gloves up to my elbow, getting little splashes on exposed skin, which you shouldn't have if you're doing that. It's pretty caustic stuff. Is Red Out
or should I have any concerns with red out, like getting on my skin or anything like that?
Yeah, we do recommend putting gloves. I mean, just because different guys have different chemical sensitivities, but this product is nowhere near as caustic as, nowhere close to having the issues that you would have with bleach. But just as a precaution, we do tell guys to work with gloves. And we also don't want guys mixing the two together in one container, because then it can kind of create like some kind of gas that will be an irritant of some sort. So, yeah, be careful of that. But yeah, safety goggles, gloves, recommended only just from a standpoint of not knowing how chemically sensitive you are, but not because it's caustic like bleach.
Gotcha. Okay. And then that's good to know. So I'm not putting part 1 and 2 together to go dispose of it. Like, I want to dispose of those separately.
That is correct.
Okay. And after I've got the floor bleached, are there limitations on what kind of stain or finish I can put over that?
Not at all. Basically, you now have a fresh canvas that you can treat like any other freshly sanded floor. You may have some grain raise just because, it's a very thin liquid product. But you can go ahead and apply your stain, apply your sealer, and any products. Just got to let it dry minimum overnight. Or it might even be 18 to 20 hours. But yeah, overnight dry time is highly recommended.
Okay.
A must, I should say. Not just recommended, a must do.
Good to differentiate between those.
Yes.
Is like part A, part B wood bleach is known as kind of like breaking down the wood fiber. So, a couple things with that. One is that surface is a little bit weaker, so it might indent or scratch easier. 2 might be a lot more grain raise after you've done classic wood bleach. So does Red Out have either one of those?
Not at all. So yeah, you're talking about the lignin gets destroyed in wood from bleaching, and you don't have that. We don't have those chemicals in Red Out that would cause that to happen. So, still have a nice structurally sound floor after applying Red Out for sure.
Is there any way that you can think of that you'd mess up Red Out enough that you'd have to go back and start a resand, or would you just redo that process?
Yeah, not to where you'd have to resand it, but just maybe redo the process. If there's something that you notice, just a second application will definitely fix it. Letting step 1 completely dry, and then applying step 2, you won't get the reaction. So therefore, you would have to reapply both steps again. But yeah, as far as there's nothing you can really do to screw it up to where you'd have to resand it and start over. Not at all.
Could you, let's say somehow you got in the situation where you have a red oak and white oak floor laced together. Can you tape off the boards and then do Red Out on one side to get the red oak to blend with the white oak?
Yeah, you can do that. Sometimes, the tape will allow a little bit to bleed up under. And so, even if that happened, it probably will cause it to look a little dark, but you can just take some sandpaper and just rub it across that seam, and it'll take that darkness right out. And it doesn't take an aggressive sand. Sometimes you have older floors where maybe white oak is just kind of blended into that red oak floor. We would say just do the whole floor. It won't really, it won't cause that white oak board to really stand out. It'll still blend in with the rest of the floor.
Gotcha. That's like a mixed species floor.
Right.
Okay.
Right.
Well, can you use Red Out on other species of wood besides red oak, and when would you want to do that?
Yeah, so, you can. We say, you can try it on just about any species out there. We've seen some floors where they've tried it on Brazilian cherry. Now, it's not going to turn Brazilian cherry white, but it's definitely it tends to turn it brown. Some boards actually kind of looked really pale. So it'll work on just about any wood species. We just don't know, what the results are going to be because we haven't tested all of the species out there. But it should work the same. It's intended to try to take color out of any board. We hear guys asking about heart pine a lot and how that looks, and some guys say, yeah, lighten it up a little bit. So But you know, the goal was for red oak mainly, but yeah, we've heard of guys trying it on other species. And again, as long as they're following the steps, it's not that they're going to cause any problems using it on other species. It's just a matter of, is it going to give you the desired look that you or your customer are looking for?
Gotcha. Okay. Yeah. All of us contractors are always looking for creative ways to mess things up. How are we going to mess up red oak if we end up doing it? What's the easiest pitfalls to avoid?
Yeah, I would say just as I mentioned, I mean, you don't want to let step one dry completely. You don't want to mix these products together. Man, it's really, this is one that it's really hard to screw up unless you just got mist areas. So therefore you got blotchiness of red, but then again, you can just reapply it. But I wouldn't oversaturate the floor with too much product. I mean, because now, you know, dimensionally, I mean, as far as, you know, adding that much solution to a floor, you can probably have some issues. But man, it's really, and just flinging, trying to roll too fast, having it splatter up on the walls. I mean, those are probably, you know, some of the things a guy probably wouldn't do, but it could happen if he's just rolling too fast because it's such a thin viscosity product. It's like rolling water on the floor.
Gotcha. Awesome. Well, I'm looking forward to trying this one out, especially given that some of the alternative methods are less than pleasant, like we talked about. So appreciate you walking me through it and appreciate you answering my questions. And I'm really looking forward to trying it out.
Yeah, thanks for having me. I think you're going to enjoy this one for sure. I mean, it really does a good job in taking that red and pink out and giving you a white oak floor. So thanks, Daniel.
Yeah, awesome. Thanks for your time, Dee.
All right.